Hello, this is Gabriel Goldstein with Escape Room Techs, and today we're going to talk about the BAS Controller Room Controller Mode event system. So over here we have the main configuration screen for the BAS controller. You can select your game mode, that's the room controller. You can select the network you want to utilize, that's Clue Control, Escape Room Master, Houdini, MQTT, and a special version of MQTT for M3. Additionally, you can set your BAC name and the room for it. Coming over to the game tab, you can see we have our event triggers for providing your overrides. You can monitor the electrical state of the inputs, monitor the state of the outputs, and actually then monitor which events have been triggered. Over on the events page, we have all the settings for the various events. As you see when you first come in, on the init event, we immediately call the enable event, which enables the whole system over here. And then reset is called. Now this is the way the BAS controller looks when you first turn it on and purchase it. And under reset, we turn off all our outputs. We turn on relay 0 and turn off relay 1. And you can see under solve, we turn off relay 0 and turn on relay 1. Now reset is used in room controller mode, but solve mode really is not used. Solve, unsolve, hit and miss, these are all events that are tied to when you're actually playing a game within the BAS controller. Technically, the room controller is not a game. It's just simply monitoring inputs and controlling outputs. So these are not used in the room controller mode. What is used are the input events. Over here is where each physical input of the BAS controller can then control how you want the outputs to react. And then this little button over here called once per reset is a setting which typically you'd want to use in a game mastering mode, so that once a prop is triggered, it cannot be re-triggered. And so I'm going to turn those on over there. And just as a very basic configuration, we're going to enable when this input here 0 goes high, we're going to turn on output 0. And we're going to do the same thing for the rest of them and kind of show how this all works. Okay, so that's the standard configuration that you would typically use, where when there's an input, a high on the input, it then turns the output high. And I've matched the numbers here. So I'll go ahead and save this here, and we'll go over to the BAS controller to show how this reacts. So now this is running. I hit this button here. That happens, that happens, that happens, and that happens. These are not programmed, these don't do anything. And notice the relays did not do anything as well. Now, you might be saying, well, this is great. How do I actually now reset my game? Okay, great, glad you asked. So coming over here, we've come down to input 7, which we typically would use as a reset input. When that goes high, we are going to then call an event reset. We're going to save that. Come over to here. And when you hit the green button, that's a reset event, turn them all off. So this could be prop 1 gets solved, prop 2 gets solved, prop 3 gets solved, prop 4 gets solved, and reset. Of course, you want to see that on your game mastering screen. So we can go back to game, and we can solve this input, solve that output, solve that. And you can see the input light flash, and 4 and 5 are not used. And I can go reset over here again. So in the input event system, we can do things a little fancier. We can come over here and we can maybe turn on this output here, and we can go to have this one turn off the previous output and do some sort of like a cascaded sequence here. So we can turn on to, and we want to make this one, we can do lots of things here. We can play a sprite video, set sprite in a loop, play sounds for your audio system, call other events, clear events, neopixels, RFIDs, network things. We can, this one here will turn on output 2, we'll wait 1 second, and then we're going to then turn off output, the previous one. And 3, we're going to come over here and let's just say we're going to call solve, because we can do that. You want to make sure you use the names in these little dark gray areas here for your other event names. So coming back over here, reset our game. Go over here, first game worked just fine. This one's going to turn this one on and turn the previous one off. This one turns on, turns the other one off after a second. And this one's then called solve. And solve, flip the position of these two relays. So that's an example of some examples of how you can use the event system to do some really complicated and kind of cool things. You have timers, all your event sequencing. There's, like I said, more advanced things for LEDs and NeoPixels to go through. When combined with the audio system, it's actually really powerful to do a lot of neat things. So enjoy your badass controller and be a badass. Thank you.